Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first meeting of Lawrence County Council in the month of May. At this time, I would ask you to stand for the invocation provided by Councilman McDaniel, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
I pray that you will, dear Lord, we come to you once again, humble as we know how, to ask that you enter these chambers to help us make the decisions for the citizens of Lawrence County. We thank you for your graces and your mercies. We ask that you watch over those who have been affected by the COVID virus. And we thank you for those who are out here protecting us each day and helping to alleviate this pandemic. These things we ask in your name, we pray, amen.
Amen. Attention, salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. I would like to take a point of privilege to again ask when we return to a regular meeting that we have some of our veterans come back. I think that's nice that we recognize them. I know during this time we can't do that. Next is the approval of the agenda. Before I ask for that approval, I would like to request to move, where are my reading glasses? Mr. Avery, he has, under reports to council, items A and C. We'll just switch the library and the 800 radios so that he can go back to back because he has to get to the Chamber of Commerce for another meeting. If you would allow B and C to switch. Are there any other additions or deletions to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, if I may make a quick comment, those who have attended, if you get your business done and you don't have further business, if you don't mind exiting the chambers, that will help us with our social distancing.
Thank you. Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the amended agenda?
Motion to approve agenda as amended.
Motion by Mr. Patterson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Carroll. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. The next item is item number 5, approval of minutes of previous meetings. Is there a motion to approve the regular meeting dated April 28, 2020 minutes? With any additions or deletions? Motion by Mr. Woods. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Anderson. Any corrections, additions, or deletions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. The next one is the minutes from the May 6, 2020 called executive session meeting regarding the employment matter of the Human Resources Director. Where is that? Is there a motion to approve those minutes? There they are. There it is. Okay. Motion by Mr. Patterson. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Carroll. Any additions or deletions? Hearing none. All in favor signify by acceptance, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Next is under item 6, report to council. This time I'll recognize Mr. Joey Avery for the COVID-19 update for Lawrence County.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be very brief. Touch a little bit on the numbers of the cases. 147 new cases today across the state. Total 7,927. 355 deaths across the state. We have a total of 47 cases in the county. 289 estimated cases, for a total of 336 possible cases. And right now we have no particular type of trend in the county as far as the cases goes. I think we're now focusing on not more on the totals, but more on the focus of social distancing and how to mitigate ways not to spread the virus. So we're limiting the spread in many ways that way. Our PPE supplies are holding good. Some of our supplies are becoming readily available now, so that's helping us out. We have no first responders that have been quarantined or affected in the last couple of weeks. So we're very fortunate that we're at 100% with all of our first responders. We're continuing our conference calls with our county partners and state partners. So we're checking in and working any issues that come about as far as that goes. Also, we had some masks that were donated to us this past week by Renfro and Clinton. You see one of these packages at your workstation there. Ms. Anderson, would you like to say a few words about those?
It was a good experience. We also toured the facility where, I'm sorry. We also toured the facilities where they were making the masks, and majority of them was working from a staffing employment group, and really it was 80 people that they need to hire, and they had hired 50, and majority of those that was hired were students from Lawrence, District 55, Clinton 56, and some from Woodruff. So we had some young people who was doing some work. Since school is already out, they were able to go ahead on and work. It was a good experience. The mask, it can be washed at least 25 times. So this is my second. Thank you.
Let me just add a correction. School is not out.
Well, you know, they're social with.
I know what you meant, but I just had to say that.
And also, all the county employees in the administrative buildings would get one of these masks, thanks to Renfro and their efforts down there. That project of making these masks was very impressive with what we saw on the tour. We had a nice little lap around the facility, so I think we got our 2 miles in that day, Ms. Anderson.
Are there any questions of Mr. Avery regarding COVID-19 or our county response?
Are we doing any testing?
I am working with DHEC at the current time to work to get testing out in the communities. There's a lot of logistics that we got to work out of that. Number one is we got to get the testing kits in place. Once we get those and we get the staffing together, I feel sure we'll be out in the county sometime. I just can't give you a time frame on that. But it is my goal to get into county and do some testing.
Ms. Anderson, I do believe that the Prisma Hospital here in Lawrence has begun doing drive-up testing, but you have to qualify with the symptoms and whatnot to get it done.
That's right.
I was just talking about preventive measures, because I know that the government office has set aside some particular communities that they are putting people in and doing some testing. And so I really want us to be a part of the testing if we can, but they had already selected several neighborhoods that they were working in. I know one of them is in Darlington County. I can't remember.
Yes, ma'am.
Society Hill, I think was the name of it. I have a sister that lives in Darlington, and I know they,
But once we can get a confirmation from DHEC, we'll certainly put the word out and let you folks know as well as the general public, because we want it to be a drive-through type testing. We want it to be easy for the individuals to drive through and get tested. So,
Okay, before we move to the next reports to council, I would just like to preface this for council and for the public. Remember, the Capital Sales Tax Commission will either approve or disapprove and then rank the projects. We are only here to receive this information as information only. It has not been approved by the Capital Sales Tax Commission, I do not believe at this point. But it certainly is for information for us at this time. All right, so Joey, go ahead and move into yours.
all right, sir. Thank you. As all of you are aware, I've been asking for about $3 million for the last 4 years. And this is a way to submit this application to replace all of our 800 megahertz radios that currently are end of life. It will bring every agency on board with 800 megahertz and bring the fire service on board. So he's got interoperability with the surrounding counties that have implemented the penny sales tax, and they spent money on their radio communications. So that's what we're going to do. I'll be going out to the chamber to present this application, and hopefully they will approve it and it will come back to council. I requested a total of $2,481,495.66. Somewhere around 750 total pieces of communications equipment. The fire service will have mobile radios, they'll have portable radios, and each one of them will get a pager also, so they are completely 800. Won't be any hybrid systems out there to create confusions and get somebody hurt. Law enforcement, EMS, 800s in the vehicles, portables, mobiles, newer technology, so we can do more things with it. And I guess that's about all I've got.
That's also for the cities too.
And the cities. Let me tell you the agencies that we've partnered with on this. Lawrence County Fire Service, Lawrence County 911, Lawrence County EMS, Lawrence City Fire, Lawrence City Police Department, Clinton Fire, the Sheriff's Department, City of Clinton PD, Offices of the Coroner, and Presbyterian College Public Safety. So everyone will be part of this plan, and we'll all have interoperable communications if this passes and this project gets seen to completion. So,
Okay, thank you, Joey. Next is Ann Shapolsky for the application regarding the Clinton Regional Library. Ms. Shapolsky.
Yes, I've submitted the proposal for the Clinton Regional Library to the Capital Sales Tax Commission. It is for 4.2 million for a 12,000 square foot library. Clinton has furnished the land. They have an option to buy on a piece of property not far from the municipal building and near downtown Clinton. They've been very cooperative working with us and have indicated that going forward, they would help with some of the maintenance costs, including utilities, should it be built. I think it's a good project. I've worked with an architect out of Greenville, some who helped me with it. Any questions?
Are there questions of Ms. Shapolsky?
I was looking at the area that they suggested, I think it was on Fifth Street.
Right.
Not because of me.
It was, to be sure. But I like for them to look at some other properties.
Well, that's the one they offered.
Okay.
And it meets the requirements of the board. So that's the one, but in the proposal, I did put that property or another designated city-owned property.
I observed that, that's why I'm thinking they need to look at some other properties. I don't, some parking and some other things that need to be looked at, that's something.
All right.
Over that particular area.
I would, I'd encourage you to work with the city of Clinton on that.
Okay, I'll
So I'm completely open, and from the beginning, and this is the board's opinion also, we had several requirements and that piece of property meets it. I trust the people in Clinton, and I'm open. So we want a 12,000 square foot library in a safe place with room enough for parking.
Okay.
So
Thank you, Ms. Shapolsky.
thank you.
And you'll be back with us. You're gonna stay for the rest of it, right? Okay, thanks. Next is.
Don't look so
I know
excited.
that wasn't too enthusiastic, but I will.
Next is Andy Howard, Parks and Denver.
Good evening, council. After last meeting where I gave the plan for the Lawrence County Parks, Ms. Anderson asked that I put some water parks, splash pads, some type of water activities in the capital sales tax. So I did submit something. It would consist of 3 splash pads throughout the county, one in Joanna, one in Ware Shoals, and one here in Lawrence. And I spoke with the cities. The cities would take on the burden of the cost for maintaining that. With the exception of Joanna, that would be at the county's park, and that would cost a good deal in utilities. As far as maintenance goes, we selected something that's very low maintenance. It wouldn't require water treatment specialists because it uses fresh water all the time. It's a point source type of splash pad, and you can see them in your packets. But basically, you push a button and it squirts you with water. Push a button, it fills up buckets and dumps you with water. These are very common. If you get into the water park side of it, where you actually have big slides and things like that, you get into a lot more staffing issues, a lot of water treatment issues, and Lawrence County and none of its Parks and Rec departments are ready to maintain or handle something to that magnitude, like they have in Simpsonville or Greenville, those big parks departments. So, but this is a good alternative. I think the water usage is about $6,000 a year is what it would come out to, just in water costs. Maintenance is not a whole lot, because it's actually done with solenoids and valves, like what your sprinkler systems at home are run off of. It wouldn't require somebody to be on site for this to be used. It's no standing water. So it would be open all the time, whether or not parks personnel are there or not. And anybody got any questions?
Where's the one in Ware Shoals?
It's gonna be at Pitts Park.
Not because of me. All right, just had to add that
I understand.
again. All right, any other questions, Andy? All right.
Thank y'all.
All right, now we're gonna move into old business. First is the second reading ordinance number 875, the fiscal year 2021 budget. Is there a motion to approve on second reading, ordinance number 875?
So move to approve 875.
There's a motion by Mr. McDaniel. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Carroll. Now I'll open the floor for discussion. Anyone? All right, Mr. King, this is where you can give us a scorecard.
Currently, before today's budget, we were roughly $600,000 deficit in the general fund. That's basically where we're at. I haven't run the numbers on tonight's scorecard.
Okay.
But that does, I'm sorry, but that does do what council has wanted to do for some time, which is do at least a one-time rebate of the full LOST sales tax back to the taxpayers this coming tax year.
And if my memory serves me correctly, we added roughly $300,000 in the budget meeting, so we're close to $1 million. But, there's a big but. We are collecting much more than anticipated in revenue. I think in excess of $2 million annually, and that will continue to grow as long as we continue to build homes and build industries. Does that pretty much sum it up?
We should hope so. Last year, we did have a significant surplus of close to over $2 million. I don't remember the exact number, but in the general, I'm looking at the general fund. So hopefully that growth will continue. I know up in the northern side of the county, the growth is still continuing at a rapid pace.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Have we got any numbers from the state yet?
No, the state, I think they just reconvened today, actually, for the first time.
Any others? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of second reading, ordinance number 875, signify by raising your right hand. And those in opposition will like sign. Motion passes 6-1 with Councilwoman Anderson in opposition. Next is second reading, ordinance number 876, special purpose tax district, fiscal year 2021. Is there a motion to approve on second reading, the special purpose tax district?
So move to approve 876.
There is a motion by Mr. McDaniel to approve ordinance 876 on second reading. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Anderson. I'll open the floor for discussion. Anyone? Here again, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of ordinance number 876 on second reading, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Next is first reading on ordinance number 877, fiscal year 2021 local option sales tax. I'm going to slow down here. Help me understand, I thought we had ended that.
I'll be glad to explain that, Mr. Chairman, if you'd like.
Go ahead.
Council, but we get the number, okay? We just reuse the ordinance number so we don't get out of sequence. Council had voted to use all of the allowable county discretionary funds to apply back to the taxes, the tax relief, and that's simply what this ordinance says. If you look at paragraph 1 of the purposes, that clarifies.
Is that credit? I got you.
Yes.
All right. So what this is doing, this is basically codifying what we've already said, which is we are not going to collect local option sales tax. We will return it to the taxpayers. So is there a motion to approve ordinance 877 on first reading?
So move to approve 877 first reading.
Motion by Mr. McDaniel, second? Second, I second it. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Go ahead. I have a problem where at least 2 references to the COVID-19 pandemic. I didn't know that was the purpose of this. At least it was not my purpose. I felt that we should be giving this money back because of the giant surpluses we've been running. Who would be willing to strike the COVID-19 language, I would be willing to vote for it. Otherwise, I'll be in opposition.
Okay, would you like to make a motion? Mr. Pat?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to word it. I make a motion that we strike the second whereas altogether. And then, under the now therefore, under number 1 purpose, strike all language after
South Carolina.
2020. Okay, yeah, after South Carolina, that works.
All right, so it's in 2 different places. Okay, does everybody understand the motion? All right, here's a second. I'll second it. All right, now let me clarify for everyone. We are striking paragraph 2 altogether, and in number 1, under purposes, end it after Lawrence County, South Carolina, period. So basically, we're just taking off the due to the COVID-19 pandemic. All right?
I got a question.
Yes,
I do.
go ahead, Mr. Wood first.
Why you got to have an ordinance saying you're not gonna take this money where when it was passed, it was supposed to be refunded back to the taxpayers 100%. That's how it passed in this county about 10, 12, 14 years ago. It's got to be refunded back to the taxpayer 100%. All right, then we came up with this little law, you know, that the county can keep 29% of it. I don't see why we need an ordinance to give it back when it was never ours to start with.
Well, by state law, it is yours. And to clarify the fact that over the last 18 years, there have been amendments to that original ordinance. I felt like this was a way to clarify exactly what the council was trying to do for this purposes for the local option sales tax, because there had been amendments in the past.
But we made an amendment just to take the money. I mean, it was, I don't see where we got to have an ordinance to give it back. That's just my opinion of it. I don't understand the purpose of this ordinance.
I tend to agree with Mr. Woods. Because when we did the ordinance for the local option sale tax, that is what was stated. And so when it was stated in there that we could use up to that amount of money. And so that is why we have always used some of it. But not always, we didn't use the set amount each time, but we could use it for administrative purpose or whatever purpose there was that we could use it. And so I felt like we always amended the ordinance when we used it. And that if we're not using it, it's still an ordinance, just as it is. That's my
And
understanding.
for the purposes of clarification, that's why I felt like,
We need
the
to-
ordinance would get it back on track and codify what the original intent, although the original ordinance is somewhat vague in that area. Okay?
Okay.
I don't disagree, that's what the intent was at that time. But again, time has passed, and there have been multiple amendments to use all or part of the money, and some years none. And to kind of clarify things, I don't see that there's any harm in saying this is what we want to do. And I think it clearly states that you want to give this money back to the taxpayers as the taxpayer.
Let me just, I recognize both what Ms. Anderson and Mr. Wood are saying. The end result is we're giving the money back to taxpayers. That's the end result, right?
In the last several years, this money's been taken from people, basically as a backdoor tax increase. I mean, it's taking money that's supposed to go to taxpayers out here, and you say we don't have a tax increase, this is increasing taxes on the people out here, if you take this money.
Right.
But this year, we're not gonna take the
That's
money,
right.
but like I said, I can't understand the ordinance to say we don't have to take it.
Okay. Any others?
I disagree that it's a backdoor tax.
Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor on first reading of ordinance number 877, to return the local option sales tax?
If you voted on your.
I'm sorry.
You need to vote on his.
You're right, the amendment, Mr. Patterson, I second. You have to vote on the amended first,
Two strikes.
the two strikes. Everybody understand that? I got ahead of myself. All those in favor?
The last one, I got the first one, the second where I am,
Just show.
and the next one is where,
Right.
okay.
Okay. All in favor of the amendment, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Now we vote on the amended ordinance. Is there a motion to,
All right, I'm gonna vote for this, because I've never agreed to taking this money.
right. Is there a motion to approve the amended ordinance 877 on first reading? Do we have a motion?
There is a
Yeah,
motion.
we did.
Okay, motion.
We already got it. Let's just call for the vote. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Thank you. Sorry, I got confused. Next is, Directive 429.1. I'm going to speak to that before Administrator Kane does. Actually, I'm going to speak to that. We had a conference call yesterday with department heads, tentatively planning, assuming council authorizes Mr. Kane to direct employees to report to work tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, May 13th, 14th, 15th, regular hours, and begin with a cautious opening on Monday. That gives them 3 days to plan for it. I believe through that conference call, we have worked through the problems or some of the issues, I won't call them problems, opportunities of how to social distance. So I will make a motion to have all county employees return to work beginning Wednesday, May the 13th, 14th, and 15th, and on Monday, May the 18th, to reopen cautiously with procedures in place. That is in the form of a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Now there's a second by Mr. Patterson. Now I'll open the floor for discussion by council members first. Mr. Kane, would you like to address it?
I think council's already addressed it, and that motion pretty much puts it spot on. All employees have been pretty much told that they need to expect to probably show up to work tomorrow, but this passing of this motion will codify that and will require employees to begin reporting physically to work beginning tomorrow morning with the plans that we put in place for our continuity of operations continuing. And that would be a cautious open, or some people refer to it as a soft opening on Monday. And then we'll continue to monitor things to see when we need to open things up more further at a later date.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I do have a question about opening the Hillcrest Center. I was informed today that there will be no in-person court cases until June 16th, or 15th, excuse me. So the whole right-hand side of the entrance will be closed. Are we going to shut that off so people aren't running around the halls, or what is the precautions there? Because none of those offices are in, a bathroom on that side. Never mind.
Good question. And the department head said yesterday that we may have to monitor and adjust, as we go through this process, but it's certainly time. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Moving into new business, resolution 2020-16C, Project Archer inducement resolution, Mr. Crookshanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, council. As you are aware, in the last couple of years, we have dealt with a number of solar projects, 2 of which were approved by council and 2 of which got waylaid because of the process that they have to go through and their connections with Duke Energy. This one is on the fast track and is ready to roll. This one is an income producer. It's $11.7 million investment. Over the last couple of years, we've learned a little bit about restructuring how the fee payments were. Most of these, as you know, around the state are level fee payments per year because they don't have equipment replacement and additional investment in employees and all the things that you normally see in manufacturing. So a number of us got together and a number of the economic developers got together and we've come up with a formula. Ours is a little higher than other counties, but this company has accepted it at $47.50. That's the multiplier per megawatt. They're scheduled to go with 10 megawatts, which would produce $47,500 a year for the county. If they increase the megawatt approval, then of course the amount of money would increase to the county. This is a level payment. This is not one that goes up and down as you normally would see in manufacturing. This will be located in and around the 221 Highway 221 area. I can't give you anything any more specific.
Does this only require one reading?
No, sir. This is the resolution of inducement.
follow.
And then there would be a first reading of the ordinance by title
Yes.
only, which follows that.
Okay.
And we would certainly recommend approval. I've talked to Jonathan Coleman. Jonathan could be here tonight working with his children and all. But we would certainly encourage approval of the inducement resolution and subsequently first reading approval of the ordinance.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion to approve the inducement resolution, Project Archer?
So move.
Motion by Mr. McDaniel, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion?
Yes, please.
Mr. Patterson.
Page 2 at the very top. It says multiplier of $47.50 per megawatt, at least 10 megawatts, paying up 50 or $47,500 annually. If they go up to 20, will they be paying double?
Yes,
And if they go down to 5, they're still paying $47,500.
they have to have at least 10 over the years on.
Okay.
So there's a bottom, there's a floor, the ceiling is as high as they want to go, or high as they are permitted to go by the commission.
Okay.
So if they went to 20, then it could be whatever 47.5 times 2 is.
So if they go to 5, they'll still be paying us $47,500.
Correct. They don't get a choice of going down.
Okay.
Any other discussions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Next is first reading on the same, by title only, Project Archer. Is there a motion to approve on first reading, title only, Project Archer?
Mr. Chairman, I move the first reading approval of ordinance 878.
Motion by Ms. Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Carroll. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of First reading of ordinance number 878, Project Arches, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0.
Thanks, Chairman.
Next is solid waste fees. I recognize our Public Works Director, Mr. Dale Satterfield.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Council. Wanted to come to you this evening. Several months ago, a couple of months ago, we were asked to investigate and bring back a solution for the thousands of tires that we get on a regular basis at the landfill. When we start talking about the landfill now, we have to look at it holistically, assuming that hopefully by the end of this year, we're going to have a transfer station open that we have to operate. And so we have to look at everything all together. For the first one, tires. And it's difficult not to use the old adage, not to reinvent the wheel, but we did go to Greenville. Greenville County charges $150 a ton. Republic does not take tires, and Curry Lake Landfill in Graycourt does not accept tires. Now, our current fee structure, as Lawrence, is that we take automotive tires at $99 a ton. Tractor trailers, $120 a ton and $150 a ton for off-road. Off-road being your large tractor tires. Those are very difficult to handle. We also spoke with DHEC, and DHEC strongly recommended that we needed to go to the $150 a ton for receiving tires, and this is from commercial operations. They strongly tried to impress upon us that as long as we're at $99 a ton, we're going to be the dumping ground for the tires. That's why Greenville County doesn't get any tires, because it's $150 a ton. So until we make an adjustment in those fees, we will continue to receive the thousands of tires that we are receiving. This recommendation has no effect on residential citizens. They can bring 5 tires to us a week. That will continue at no charge. So this recommendation only affects the commercial operations. So, and that's what we would propose there. Now, our current plan is to transport these tires with the tractor trailers that we have purchased to operate the transfer station. Now, after we open the transfer station and we begin those operations, there's a possibility that could stress the use of those trailers and the tractor trailers to haul tires to where they go. So it's incumbent upon us to try to help spread out the landfills and who takes the tires. Any questions on tires? We have begun to load the tires with equipment. So now we're not manhandling the
So
tires.
basically, if you raise these fees, what everyone else is charging, it might make us have to handle less tires.
That's correct. And if you live closer
So
to,
I feel like it's a no-brainer not to vote for this.
if you live closer to the Greenville County landfill,
Well, you went 2 vote for it.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, if you live closer to Lawrence County, Greenville County's landfill, then there's no incentive to drive the extra mileage to us because of the lower cost.
Yeah.
So it would help spread out those tires. And the 2
Well, they gotta
closest,
spend the same thing down here that they spend up there.
That is
They're gonna
correct.
put them up there instead of bringing them.
that is correct. Yes, sir.
All right,
Good thinking.
well, let's stop,
I was gonna ask that question.
let's stop and let's do it. Or let's talk about it. Is there a motion to increase the tires, collection fee to $150 for auto/heavy truck and $200 for off-road tires? Those are from commercial, vendors, and continue to offer free residential limit 5 per week for auto or light truck. Is there a motion?
Motion approved.
Motion to approve it effective when, Mr. Wood?
Whatever the public works director wants. whenever he wants to start.
effective May the 13th,
May
2020, that's tomorrow.
Okay.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Youngs. Discussion, questions?
I have a question. How many in-county businesses are currently dropping their tires off? And what volume?
How many? I don't know. I can research and get you those numbers.
You got a good guess by any chance?
I'd say probably 7 to 10.
And how many tons a month?
I mean, all of them that are in the tire business. Tons a month. Probably in the 5 to 6 tons a month. I mean, it's a lot of time.
There's another way to look at this thing. When you buy a tire, you pay a disposal fee for that
Yes, sir.
tire. Well, even the people in Lawrence County, instead of giving that disposal fee to Lawrence County to dispose of that tire, they've been keeping part of it. So it's not gonna really cost the dealers or whoever's selling tires in Lawrence County, it's not gonna cost them any more money because they get it from whoever's selling tires to. They get that $2 fee per tire.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion, effective May 13th, increase the fees to $150 and $200 and continue free for residential, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0.
Okay.
Next.
And let me say this while it's on my tip of my brain. We are going to charge down to the 100 pounds rounded. No one else around us does that. So that once you pass over 1 ton and starts heading toward that next ton, you have to pay for that next ton. We're not going to do that. So that will save the person money as well. We're going to charge down to the 100 pounds. Cellulosic, that is your limbs and your trees and all of that. We need to look at that very quickly. Greenville County charges $26 a ton for cellulosic. Republic does not take cellulosic. Republic is your Wildcat landfill over toward Union. Curry Lake charges $42 a ton, and then Lawrence County, we are currently at $26 a ton. What that is causing is that, of course, we're taking all the cellulosic from the tree contractors and the commercial operations. The last time we ground limbs and tree trunks, we had to get the large bulldozer that belongs to the sheriff's department over there to try to push it up into a mountain to try to make more room. We are being covered over with ground up chips and mulch. We're going to have to do something with that vast volume of cellulosic material. And Curry Lake, of course, is not getting any because they're much higher than we are. So our recommendation there would be $42 for commercial operations. And of course, as always, free for our citizens.
Okay.
Normally, they don't bring in dump truck loads of trees, so.
Is there a motion to increase the amount per ton by $16 from $26 to $42 for commercial operations for cellulosic inside Lawrence County? And will continue to be free for residential. Is there a motion?
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Woods, is there a second? By Mr. Carroll. Any discussion?
Effective date, Mr. Chairman.
Effective date, just like the last one, May 13th, 2020. Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes 6-1 with Councilman Patterson in opposition. Next.
Okay, the last is your municipal solid waste. Now, this is anything that's not your residential household garbage for which the collection sites were designed to take. And we're struggling to keep those open throughout the weekends. We continue to have complaints with residents who may clean out their home or their grandmother's home, and they'll come with a pickup truck that's piled high and a 16-foot trailer that's piled high. And of course, and it's always on Friday afternoon or Saturday morning. If we take that, then we can almost guarantee you that that collection site will shut down sometime on Saturday and won't remain open through the weekend. What we are proposing here, and again, we went to Greenville County, they charge $30 a ton for MSW, Welford 33, Curry Lake 42, Greenwood 40, and currently we don't charge. Okay, so guess who's getting all the solid waste for those type loads? We are. Our recommendation would be to once again match Curry Lake at $42 a ton. And then, as I said, we're going to weigh that down to the hundreds of pounds so that they don't have to pay for that next quantity, that next unit. And so then we went to DHEC and was asking about transportation costs. DHEC, of course, tracks all the operations from municipal solid waste operators across the state. There said that the transportation for this type material is $12 to $15 a ton. I've done some research, tried to put together what we thought our transportation cost would be, and I came up with $11 a ton if we transported it. Now, that doesn't account for administrative cost for Mr. Kamey or myself and some of those other costs that it's difficult to assign to that, but it told me that we were right in what they said it should be. So we recommend $30 a ton, that equals Greenville County. And then the $12 a ton on the lower end of that scale for transportation, which would come to $42 a ton.
Okay. Is there a motion for municipal solid waste to increase from $0 to $42 effective May 13, 2020?
This is, you talking about furniture and
We're talking about anything that's not
anything not household.
not hazardous waste.
Okay.
This is,
Box sites, the small convenience sites. They don't have scales, so how do you know?
no, they would bring it to the transfer
So
station.
that means you can't bring that kind of material to your box sites anymore?
Not the large loads, but they would have an option to go to the transfer station. This gives them an option to be able to get rid
What
of
if you
it.
had a mattress and a couch? Could you
We'll
do
take
it?
that, yeah.
What's the differentiator? How will they decide?
The volume. We will take what we consider at a collection site is a standard pickup truck load level and maybe a 4x6 trailer. We'll try to accommodate that. When you show up with a pickup truck load piled up to the top of the cab and you got a 16-foot trailer that's piled high, then you've shut us down for the weekend. It's difficult to make it. But now we can look at that citizen and say, we can take it. We just need to take it at the transfer station where we can properly handle it.
And will that citizen be charged $42?
Yes.
Okay.
This is the one that does affect the citizen because there's handling cost to get it through the transfer station and transport it.
I'm not a motion to approve that.
All right, there's a motion by Mr. Wood. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Youngs. Any further discussion?
I'd like to see if that's, you don't think we should be around the, drop it to $40, just like Greenwood County, instead of having the 42. I don't want it to be so high.
Mhm.
Well, I'll just add my 2 cents for it.
Okay.
I'm voting in opposition of this because we pay a trash fee, for lack of better words. And I don't want to see it on the side of the ditch or a road. I recognize what you're saying, but that's why I'm voting against it. So it's a significant increase for a citizen to pay, if you ask me. But-
If you get at the trash dump and those big old volumes of things come in there and the line, I'm talking about the one over on Charlotte Road. And they hold up the line even on both ways because they just block up traffic, and sometimes they just have to tell them, you know, drive around and go back out and come back in and put it in one over there on the side. So I feel sometimes that, it should be a price, when you have so much, because I've seen some with it takes probably 30 minutes to get it off the car, either I own one, get it off the truck and everything. So I think it should be something, but I don't really know what it should be. But I think it should be something because, somebody has to really get it. Because I've seen one that's fill up one of those old cartons. I've seen one that fill the whole thing up almost.
I understand, trash is big business, unfortunately.
So, my 2 cents, Mr. Chairman, I do agree that, we shouldn't be charging our citizens for their personal trash, but if they're taking everybody's trash on the street, everybody's couch, then maybe there should be a fee. Can we quantify commercial versus, personal, garbage? Because I would like to see us start charging for commercial, and I am okay with the volume issue. If somebody pulls up to a box site with a 16-foot trailer, for a volume reason, I'm okay with sending them to the main landfill. But I don't think they should be charged when they get there, if it's their personal garbage.
And if I may add one more thing as a follow-up, we're putting our box attendants in the police business to monitor what is, in a very subjective way, a volume that exceeds it versus someone who says, go ahead and put it in.
Yes, sir, you're correct, and I appreciate the sheriff because they have had to dispatch deputies and de-escalate issues. As far as policing what's commercial and what's not, that's very difficult to do. I don't know how you do that.
I've had people mention to me about, I can put anything I want to in those dumpsters. Said, I pay a solid waste fee every year. Well, everybody in this county, at each household pays, I think it's $65 a year now to dump their household trash. If that's not a bargain, they've never been a bargain. That's $5 a month for somebody to place to take your household trash, and somebody to come pick it up, haul it to the landfill, pay tipping fees, all this stuff. I mean, it's a bargain, $5 a month. But
As I understand from the ordinance, says the $65 covers weekly residential household garbage. And it's everything besides that causes us a struggle.
Any others? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by raising your right.
I want to amend my motion to change it to $40, like Ms. Anderson said.
Okay, we got an amended motion at $40. Who made the second?
Mr. Yance.
Mr. Yance.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Patterson, you got something?
I'm good.
All right.
One more clarification from a logistics standpoint, we draw this resolution up for this fee. I need some specifics as to what's allowable, what's not allowable. That's.
That will have to come.
Otherwise, back to what your point is that the guy at the gates.
It's subjective.
Correct.
And yeah, I keep hearing a reoccurring comment. Councilman Patterson made the same comment that we need to clarify the ordinance and the rules of the game.
Exactly.
So, and we'll work on that.
Okay, and I wouldn't think we should try to start this on May 13th. I think it should be some time where we can make sure that the
I say
citizens understand exactly what we're trying to
we
do.
would begin this one with the new budget. Well, no, we'll begin this one when the transfer station is in operation.
Well, having said that, I'm gonna make a motion that we table it.
Second.
There's a motion to table and a second by Mr. Patterson. I'll call for the vote on tabling. All in favor signify by raising the right hand. 7-0.
And that will give us time to look at the ordinance.
To clarify and get some clarification.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for understanding, everyone.
Transfer station built is a whole different problem.
I agree.
This would not be, my perception, would not be an ordinance, this would be a
good.
We'll incorporate it in here.
Next is a request by Sheriff Reynolds for a change in pay classification regarding sergeant and lieutenant positions. Sheriff Reynolds.
Just
Yes,
a
sir,
point,
Mr. Chairman, Council.
Mr. Sheriff, if I may, real quick.
Yes, sir.
In your packets, there is 2 pages of information that do not belong, so just ignore these 2 pages.
Correct. I wasn't.
Sorry about that, Sheriff.
Yes, sir. I'm asking you to change to non-exempt on as far as the position of sergeant lieutenant. For the simple fact that all below the captain are on hourly, are paid on an hourly salary. So therefore, on these shifts out here working, like a sergeant and lieutenant, just like this shooting this morning, and it occurs, it's hard to look a man in the eye. It makes no sense. That's the reason we've been paying these guys like this all along, to look at him, and he's been out there for 12 hours fighting crime, and you say, you have to stay out, but I can't pay you. That makes no sense. Those guys doing the same job, same description, same duties as the other 3 guys next to them.
Okay, let me try to explain what I think he's asking for. What I think the sheriff is asking for is that the lieutenant positions and the sergeant positions would become, even though they're hourly, they would become non-exempt,
Correct.
which basically means if they're out there, we're gonna pay them.
Correct.
Rather than if they were salaried, they wouldn't be paid.
Correct.
Okay, so that will increase the budget on salary, it will increase the budget on overtime, et cetera, et cetera.
They have been being paid that way for the last 2 years. Exactly what I'm saying. They have been paid across the board like each and every other one for the last 2 years. Exactly as I said.
I'm not following.
They're classified as exempt, but he's paying them as non-exempt currently, so they need to match the way they're being paid. Correct, Sheriff?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
That's correct. That is not compliant with what council has approved. The only reason that this became an issue is because Ms. Kirk now is running HR. And when they did, as they have done for several years now, and went to fill a position that just became vacant, one of these positions, it was flagged correctly by Ms. Kirk. And that previous actions that were taken by the former HR director were not compliant with county council's directive.
Okay, I believe we need some guidance from the IRS. I've dealt with this with the school district. If this can go, we can wind up in a big mess.
So if we don't approve this, then yes, we could wind up in a big mess. We do need to take a look at our exempt and non-exempt positions with our new HR director. That will be a to-do list item with that new HR director. And these positions in the future, all of the positions may be deemed as exempt in the future when we do that proper analysis of exempt versus non-exempt. The situation we're dealing with now is we have a majority of the staff at the sheriff's office with these titles that are currently non-exempt. The problem is that was not approved by county council when we put our pay structure together 3 years ago. So to fix that, this is what we're trying to do at this moment. We still will revisit that IRS classification.
Well, let me ask you this question. Can we do it and grandfather the current people in those positions by name and position? What I mean is if there's an open position, the current sheriff or whoever the new sheriff is can't hire somebody and classify them as non-exempt. When we know, in fact, they're gonna meet the definition of the IRS of exempt, because they supervise employees, and that's the primary criteria, I believe.
No, sir, I don't, they supervise, they do not make the ultimate decisions on company policy and enforcement of punishment.
That would,
So recognized.
that would be the alternative is you would have to not approve this request, but then I'm going to turn around and ask you for a grandfathering of the existing employees that are non-compliant with council's directive. We are not going backwards to the way it used to be, where this continues to be a problem. We fixed this years ago. This doesn't involve you, Sheriff. This is a problem from the HR perspective.
Right.
And I refuse to allow us to go backwards. So we're going to have to do one or the other this evening.
So if we grandfather the existing employees, and then we can get a ruling from the IRS, and they will provide a ruling.
Yeah, you have a fair labor standards issue. As to the way you're currently paying or not paying.
Right.
Because as I understand this situation, you have some that are over here and you have some that are over here. They're not being treated equally, which is.
Well, if the grandfather, we're not treating them equally.
Correct. And I agree with Mr. Kivitz, it needs a reclassification and a redo or a fix. Now, whether the proposals that are out there that Mr. Gaines made and the sheriff made, whether that solves the problem today, I couldn't tell you without research. We don't want to run right into the head of a train coming out.
We've been paying though as if they were non-exempt, like all the
Correct.
correct payments.
Correct. So let me just offer this as I think I know where the chairman is going with this, is we would go ahead and allow this to continue until we're able to do this exempt, non-exempt FLSA analysis.
Yes. That's what I was trying to say.
What's it gonna do to the bottom line salary?
It won't be an impact on the salaries. We've already had a conversation on the overtime. It will affect the overtime slightly, but these are just a few handful of positions that it's just one position I think that's vacant at the current moment. So in this particular quandary, I don't think it's going to be a significant impact, if any, on that $100,000-something overtime budget.
Okay.
And I think we can get a solution to this fairly quickly. This is not.
That's fine.
Let me try to understand this. You talking about, you got a salaried man out there, he makes a certain amount of money. You got a deputy out there that works by the hour. That salaried man stays out there longer than he's really getting paid for. We're gonna start paying the salaried man overtime.
He's not salaried.
That's what he's saying. They've been paying them hourly for 2 years.
No, he's not salaried.
So, Sheriff Reynolds, when you go to hire somebody on the job description, does it say $15 an hour? Does it say
It
$30?
has the annual salary broken down into the hourly pay.
It's a way for, I mean, let's face it, it's a way to get a pay increase by putting them on hourly. Let's just say what it really is. That's what it is.
It's called getting paid to work, sir, too. I have to fight for these guys. They don't do it just to make an extra dime. They do it because the job requires it of them, sir. Truly, this is a very demanding job. I understand that you say it's to make more money, but it's the way it's their living. But that salary, they're not salaried. It's put on every piece of paper that has always gone over to human resources, other than the captain. The captain's on it, don't, but all the rest has the yearly salary and it also has hourly. I mean, every piece of paper goes over.
All I'm saying, Sheriff, is we need to get a clarification from the IRS ruling whether a sergeant and lieutenant are exempt or non-exempt. And that should be fairly simple to do. That's all I'm saying. If it comes back they're non-exempt, then they're hourly. If it comes back they're exempt, they're salary. It's that simple. Am I saying something wrong?
No, sir. I think you need.
That's all I'm asking, is that we get a ruling from the IRS. I'm fine with approving the ones that are in it right now. It's not fair to cut somebody. I'm not suggesting that at all. We do, like Mr. Carroll said, we have to have on our policy what we're doing in actual reality. So do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion, but I want to ask a qualifier. So if we decide and vote to allow these positions to be non-exempt and receive hourly pay, and we get the report back from the IRS that says they should be exempt, does that change all of them to exempt, or will we grandfather in the ones that are being paid hourly now?
I think, all I can speak from, I'm not an attorney nor the son of an attorney, but all I can say is the school district, we changed it, whatever the IRS said, that's what we had to start doing. So,
Okay, well,
It'll be across the board.
Yeah,
Everybody with that job description.
yeah.
So there was some changes in 2020 that dealt with first responders and police officers and as it relates to the exempt litmus test. They're gonna pass, they're not gonna be required to be exempt, but you can get that ruling, but
Yes.
All right, that's good. I'm glad to know. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so go ahead, Mr. Pastor.
I'll attempt to make a motion, make sure. we're-
Okay.
I would like to make a motion that all sergeants and lieutenants employed or to be employed by the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office be classified as non-exempt pending a ruling from the IRS.
Motion by Mr. Pastor, is there a second?
Second.
Next second by Mr. Carroll. Any further discussion?
Also, are you saying we're gonna go ahead and start paying them and then?
We're already.
You're already
Already
paying.
paying? Okay. Got you.
All right, hearing no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Okay. Next, recognize Sheriff Reynolds regarding animal and litter control.
Yes, sir. I'm asking that y'all reassign, reposition animal control to be underneath the sheriff's office.
Pretty simple. You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion to reclassify animal control and litter control from Public Works to the sheriff's office? There's a motion by Mr. Yance. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Carroll. Now I'll open the floor for discussion.
I'd like to know what changed your mind when you took this thing over, you didn't want it.
Well, I don't want to have to turn around and look at all these people, but the reason I wouldn't take it initially is because I was concerned with the structure of it, plain and simple. That was unfortunate, the true fact.
You what?
Concerned with the structure of it.
Okay.
But this man right back here has done a phenomenal job leading these people. They do a phenomenal job, and I'm proud. And I've realized something. They have stepped their game up. So when they're standing in that yard confronting a hostile individual, then they have to wait on one of my guys to get on the scene because they're not equipped to maintain their safety. So actually, it's a liability on the county and my conscience. So now, after we get them the training they need and the equipment that they need, they'll be able to step up and they can put the handcuffs on the man if need and take care of business before my guy gets there to back, and he can proceed to help him. But it's just putting them in a terrible position because they're going into some terrible situations and they're having to try to count to 10 waiting on my guy to get there. And that's stepping their game up is what changed my thinking. They have stepped their game up. They do a phenomenal job.
If I may, I'm gonna call up Jeff Brown. He's Director of Animal Control. I had a conversation with Jeff yesterday by mistake. I thought I called Billy Wilson. I never got Jeff. Jeff, this came as a request from Jeff as well. You want to address it?
Council, since I've come here, I've tried to improve this department. But the biggest thing that we have lacked is the ability to protect ourselves. And if last Friday did not prove that point, plain and simple, if we had not realized that there was a wanted violent felon at that house, I would not have had a deputy with myself and Officer Purple. When 3 dogs came up, we would have been severely injured because the equipment that we have would not have protected us. And also, had I not been talking to a deputy who informed me that there was a wanted person at that address that was violent, I don't have access to the records as it stands to look at those addresses and say, hey, there's a wanted person here to protect ourselves. We would have walked into a situation, we'd be having a different conversation right now on how to pay for our medical bills. We need this move to get the equipment and the training and the authority to protect ourselves and to better serve the citizens of this county.
Okay, any questions of Jeff?
Does this mean that everybody in animal control now is gonna be a deputy sheriff?
No, sir, my intention, he has himself and 3 other individuals that I intend to have certifications. So it'll be a 4 out of 6. 4 out of 6 personnel will be the deputy.
And the other 2 are at the shelter.
Yeah, the other 2 are
Where
the
they're at
shelter.
now.
So for clarification's sake, Dale will no longer, or that position, Public Works, will no longer oversee animal control. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Or litter control?
That's correct.
Okay. And Dale's, I'm sure he's happy.
Dale's,
Where are you, Dale?
we've had a meeting of this. He's not celebrating yet. You got to get a vote.
Well, I do hope they would come by and see me occasionally. But no, to just say what Sheriff Reynolds said, these folks we got good folks. And I told Mr. King the other day, I guess I'm a victim of either being lucky or being somewhat successful at hiring good employees. But I do worry for our animal control officers. The puppy mill incident that we had on Indian Mountain Road, I don't know how long you confronted the individual before a deputy showed up, but the individual that walked out of the woods and confronted him was armed and Jeff was not. So that's when our eyes begin to open, that we've got to step this game up, because now we've got puppy mills and dog fighting rings and people who has warrants on them that they can't find. And then these guys stumble, and for some reason, and I'm sure Jeff knows, where there's drugs, alcohol, guns, illegal activity, you're more than likely going to come across animal abuse or dogs, and animals are going to be involved somehow. So we need to get these guys protection.
All right.
You know the possible cost it's gonna add to our budget right here.
Well, roughly to outfit these guys with the equipment that they need, body camera, the handgun, the shotguns, everything that a deputy needs is roughly combined right at $7,200. So that's time. That's what in those out of 6, those 4 that I intend to get through the classes and get certified.
I'm asking questions because I know where this came from 4 years ago, and we did have a problem 4 years ago, and it's come to what it's come to now is we've solved a lot of the problems, and I just want to make sure we're getting this right now, and it seems like we must be getting it right now. Will any of these people in animal control be carrying a weapon now?
Absolutely. I intend for these 4 to carry weapons, yes. They'll be trained and certified to be a Class 3 deputy, and they will carry weapons. That's why I say I want to do it to protect themselves.
Does that mean they'll have to go to the academy?
They'll have to take training. But a lot of that now they do online, so it's in-house. I have a really good training officer that'll lead them and direct them in what they need to do, and they'll take the training online, a lot of it.
Will they be any instances, of course, you probably can't answer this, will there be any instances where you, after they're trying to be a deputy, you'll pull them out of animal control, put them in church?
Well, I don't know if you paid much attention or not, Mr. Wood, but I declared war on animal people 3 years, 4 years ago, and we've done a quite good job. So that's why I'm so proud of them. And I assure you, they'll be out there taking these people to jail. They'll be working very hard on these animal violations. I assure you, that's what they'll be dedicated to.
I'm proud of them too.
Well, they've done it. They have stood beside of us, this office, in every incident, but I want to make it better on them. That's all this is about, to make this sheriff's office stand taller.
So what does the salary increase look like, Jeff? Or Sheriff?
I'm not, actually, I was trying, considering the year we've had, I wasn't addressing the salaries. I was just at this point, I wanted to get them over, get them trained, and get the equipment they need.
The only budgetary impact is the additional equipment that he just quantified at $7,200.
I think that's incorrect. I think if we are paying a deputy a minimum amount, we're going to have to pay them that same minimum amount.
These are Class 3 deputies.
Class 3, in other words.
They're not Class 1.
No.
Class 3 are basically like constables.
I mean, try to break it down. They don't have the power to do what they need to do.
Right.
Yes.
All right, we talked about it long enough.
I'm gonna ask one more question, I'll shut up. What is surrounding county doing in this situation?
Well, it varies. Some animal control is underneath the Greenwood County Sheriff, and some are, most are under the sheriff.
My personal opinion is it needs to be on the sheriff. Should have been years ago.
Well, it always was 4 years ago, and then that's when we started having changes made and everything, and now we're going back to the sheriff's department.
Well, I don't see a lot what was done 4 years ago, sir, so I can't really tell you where it was 4 years ago, because I was if the work and the paperwork hard, I don't know where it was 4 years ago.
Mr. Patterson?
My only question would be, and I am in favor of this, but if we do this, does that affect the animal control committee we just set up a few months back?
No, they can work with them. It'll be the same people, right, Jeff? Your advisory committee, you still work with them.
That'd be up to the sheriff or council. I work with them if I'm told to.
And that had a lot to do with shelter operations though, where they were giving their input more than what they've been doing.
Or the
I just know Public Works did some of the appointing. I don't know if the appointing of certain people on that committee would change the sheriff or how that would work would be my.
Well, since we, as council, originated that, my instinct is that it will remain intact and they will continue to work with the people at the shelter for volunteering and items such as that.
Sounds good.
Sheriff, you sure you want this headache?
Well, I'm well aware, I've already had 2 sheriffs tell me I lost my mind, sir, but listen,
All right, I'm gonna call for it. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. 7-0. Best of luck to you.
Thank you very much.
I wouldn't have it. Next is public comment. Since we don't have any public here, we're gonna skip that. Next is county council comments. You don't have any public comment by email, do you? Okay. And county council comments. I'll give my right, your left, Mr. Karen.
No additional, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. McDaniel.
Like to once again, thank Renfro for donating advance to our emergency services. That's it.
Ms. Anderson.
Nothing that, the citizens still remain safe as much as you possibly can, following all the guidelines they set aside for us to do this for COVID-19. And, that's it.
Mr. Wood.
I don't want to be, I don't know what the word would be, but the reason I ask questions about this, I want the best thing for animal control and best thing for the sheriff's department. And before I vote on something, I like to understand it. So that's why I was asking questions what I was. I know what we went through 4 years ago. So, but it seems like according to animal control and sheriff's department, this is the best thing to do. And, I wish y'all the luck in the world. And a person that does this type of work goes out to people's houses and they got vicious dogs and so forth. It takes a special person to do this. It takes a special person to go out when you see an animal mistreated and maybe a chain with a log chain or something, and you guys stand there and argue with them. I always felt like animal control need to have some kind of protection. And I hope this is what we're gonna end up with here. Animal control will get the protection they need. And I'll leave it there.
Okay, Mr. Young.
Yeah, I like to pat animal control, give them a pat on the back. A couple weeks ago, my daughter had an incident with a neighbor's pit bull would come over and jumped on her little dog. And, they jumped right her.
Anything else? Ms. Patterson.
I'll echo all those sentiments. We have a phenomenal animal control team. I want to thank all of our employees who worked hard during this pandemic. I'm glad that we have finally seen the light at the end of the tunnel and can begin to return to whatever normal is. I also want to commend the sheriff, as well as Mr. Evans on the budget process earlier in this evening. The sheriff had a $928,000 in personnel requests that he dropped to $60,000. I hope our other department heads throughout this county will be encouraged to work with us on this tight budget and get us where they need to be. I know everybody wants more, But we're all running a tight ship, and I appreciate the sheriff's willingness to work with us on that budget. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
And the only comments I would like to say is, publicly, I'd like to thank those folks who have tried to continue the operation of the county during this, especially everything that had been routed through the treasurer's office, over there at Hillcrest, to our first responders. Our folks went way above the call of duty, during this and continue to do this. And I'd like to end it by saying that, the department head conference call yesterday just astounded me, with how smart our people are at beginning to prepare for this cautious opening. They have prepared their departments. Some have things already in place. Most of them have things in place to control, try to limit the numbers. Really just a great job from our folks. And I appreciate the efforts that everyone has made. I look forward to I'm calling it a cautious opening on Monday. I think it's a great idea, Mr. Carroll, of yours, to have them come back to give 3 days in preparation and planning. So thank you for that idea of the last meeting, and thank council for the work you've done, each one of us, as we continue to move our county forward, for the citizens, our 70,000 residents plus, here in Lawrence County. With that, is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Carroll, second. Second by Mr. Patterson. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. We are adjourned.